Hey,
Hey.
hi everybody. Welcome to Politics in America with Cleo the Seer. That's me, and Colleen the Cool Crone. Right there is Colleen, and we're going to be talking about politics today. We are 1 week away from the election, and there's just so many things happening, and it's really all good. I mean, let's start with the thing in New York.
Oh, yes.
Madison Square Garden, where Trump's rally there, although he had a lot in attendance, it was just an amazing disaster. I mean, so racist and just so vulgar, and things that they were saying and doing was just so inappropriate. So I loved it that he screws up like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to check on how many people actually attended.
And then, the comment about the guy that thought he was being funny made a bad comment about Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I mean that was I found that insulting. Period to everybody. I mean, what did they
Yeah.
say? Um, and so I'm just the things that have been coming out. The only thing that really surprised me was that his wife Melania, she came out there and she was smiling. She looked good.
She
She
was smiling some of the time. Once he was holding her hand, she would smile to his face and then she'd turn away and do this. She looked like Grumpy Cat. It was funny. It was really funny.
So yeah, she was all smiling and she made a great introduction for him. And I just thought, wow, she must have gotten paid a bundle for that.
Oh yeah, she did. And I got the numbers on it. So apparently they did turn people away. And of course, one cop said, what did he say? That thousands of people were turned away from the event after it reached capacity, but capacity is less than 20,000 people. It's 19,500.
Oh, okay.
So that's the max that they could have in there, and that's what they had.
So
So
yeah, they
so
had a
good.
huge uh, audience.
Yeah,
And
but
a
but
huge
not
audience where they just embarrassed themselves and
yes.
said the most ridiculous things. So they had more people than usual that got to watch all the horrible, stupid things that they did
Yep.
throughout that rally, and it
Yep.
was just it was just an embarrassment. Now
Mm,
I
huge
see also
embarrassment.
that I haven't had a chance to really read up on it, but that Elon Musk is being sued by the attorney general from
The
Pennsylvania.
DOJ. Oh, Pennsylvania. Yeah, right. Yes, yes, that's right.
Because is that over that $1 million he's trying to pay
Yeah,
people off? Yeah,
yeah. He's also being investigated by the DOJ.
yeah. And he just did you see him acting like a monkey or something? The way he was
Yeah.
jumping around and being just silly, and I'm like, what are you doing? You gave it. He acts like he's helping the Republicans put Donald Trump in the White House. I don't see it. I don't think anybody's looking at that like, oh, well, if Elon Musk is going to jump around like a fool and give all this money, then it must be worthwhile. I don't see that people are thinking that way. Um, what was the other thing that came up about that? Oh, okay. My biggest thing today that I'm really concerned about is the election interference that is being created by the GOP. I would say Donald Trump because it starts with him, but
Mhm,
he's been talking about this for almost 4 years now
mhm.
about that the election was stolen, and he based his whole campaign on the election being stolen, and he's got all his Republican buddies and his little mega troops all saying the same thing, which we know is not true. We know that there was no problems with the election. We know that Biden was supposed to get elected, and the numbers showed that. But what he has done, not what he's done, probably, but the GOP, what they have done is they have collected 200,000 people across the country to either be poll workers or be poll watchers. So, no matter how you look at this, to me, it is just complete election interference. They're trying to act like they're going to catch election interference. I think they're going to create it. And I think they're
Yeah.
going to create a lot of havoc that will, well, the way the election is going to go, I guess apparently a lot of Republicans have voted ahead of time, and that's what they want them to do, because then Trump is going to come out prematurely and declare victory. So on the day of the election, when that happens, don't worry, it's not true. He did the same thing with Biden when he was going against Biden. He said that he was, he had won. They're going to do that again. And only this time, I believe, I mean, some people will probably believe it, especially the ones that want him to be president. They're going to believe it. And then when it doesn't turn out, then starts all these legal maneuvers and all these, that's taken collectively, all the stuff they can find that could be called election interference. But right now, Trump is acting like he's going to win. And if he doesn't win, then obviously there's something crooked going on, that has been stolen again. Once again, he runs for president and it gets stolen from him. I do believe that, according to my guides, this is going to be the big downfall for him. Because once he is not reelected, everything opens up. All these legal problems, he can't run away from them anymore. He can't hide behind a campaign for president in order to ignore his legal stuff.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. By the way, I did get numbers. Kamala had an event on the Ellipse today, and apparently, the Ellipse is where Donald had all of the big crowd on January 6th. This must be so huge. So we just looked at the numbers for Trump at Madison Square Garden, which was less than 20,000. It was 19,500 at max. Kamala's numbers are going to top 52,000 people.
oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yes.
More than double. More than double.
Oh, wow.
Double and a half.
And
So,
I don't know if everybody's been watching Kamala, but I've tried to catch her as often as I can, because every time I see her, I like her more and more and more.
I
I
know.
mean, it's gotten to where not only do I just I love this woman, what she is trying to do, the way she presents herself, her whole approach to the whole thing. She's had such a limited amount of time to campaign, and there she is. And she's just
Making herstory. Making herstory. We're going to make that a word. We're going to make that a word, herstory. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
And I mean, I just, I just think, I think she is in line with her destiny. I mean, it was just
Yeah,
destined to be this way. Um,
she really is.
all
She
my
really is.
spirit guides are just gung ho, and they will gung ho about Kamala way before she ever became a candidate for president.
Yeah.
And that's why they keep asking me why I worry about such things like the polls and stuff. Well, I can't help it. I'm a worrier. And when I see these, I can't figure out for the life of me how these things could be so close. So I think that the people that are putting up the poll stuff on the Today Show and different shows, I think they're sincere, and I think they're going by the information they get. But even they've got to wonder, how could this possibly be that close? I just don't think it is. But we'll find out come election day. Well, probably a few days after the election. So, um, it's just, it is, we've said all year it's going to be a crazy year, and it just gets crazier. I see Trump doing some really, well, he's always outrageous, but some really crazy, desperate things between now and the election, but on election day and thereafter. I mean, he has already started with all the taking a bunch of things to court about how elections are run in different states and how they should be changed. And everybody's like, yeah, well, you're a little too late for that now. and also the election interference, like up here in Washington, we had some fool from, I think it's from Oregon, because it started in Oregon, where he burnt up the
ballot drop box.
ballot drop boxes. Yes.
I saw that, and one of them they lost several hundred, maybe 1,000 ballots that were in there, but the other one they only lost a few. And I heard that they have already contacted. Well, they've already put notices out. They can't really contact the voters because they couldn't see who it was on the envelopes, but they're telling people if they voted between a certain time and a certain time on that day and dropped their ballots in the box to contact them so that they can get additional ballots so they can vote again, so that their votes are not lost. So they're on it. They are on it. They are not going to let those votes go to waste. And it's only at the most maybe 800, 900 votes. It's not like thousands and thousands and thousands of votes. So this guy was really just looking to get arrested, because he will get arrested. There's cameras everywhere these days, so he's going to get arrested.
Well, and it's,
In fact, I think they already know who it is. Let me Google that while you
I
talk.
think well, they've got a picture of a Volvo that went by the ballot box and looked like it hooked something to the ballot box. It's only 2 ballot boxes, one in Vancouver and one in, I think, Portland or somewhere in Oregon. You know, and I mean, the drive from Portland to Vancouver is like, I don't know, an hour, hour and a half.
Mhm.
So,
As of 3 years ago, it says they're still searching for him. Police release a photo of at-large suspect's car. Oh, that's what you saw, the Volvo.
yeah.
Okay. Well, they're gonna get him. I have no fear. So I threw some cards on the cheating that Trump's
Good.
people are doing. So what I get here is that they're working really hard in concert with one another to cheat, and they have been from the word go. Even before Trump announced, what was it, almost 3 years ago that he announced he was running, from that time, they have been cheating. They have been doing all sorts of things. They employed the Russia and China and Iran, whoever was helping them with social media engineering. They have done everything they can to switch laws around and make them confusing. They've been practicing obstructing voters in terms of being on the ballot, throwing out old voters, pretending like people had died and throwing out their registration so that they had to register again, and just closing down polls, making it hard for them to vote, putting in weird laws where you can't give people food and water while they're standing in line to vote, making it necessary for people to stand in line and vote. In my state, we don't have to stand in line to vote. In my state, I just found out we have early voting. I think that might be new this year. I'm not sure, but I didn't know about it. So we have early voting, which started about 2 weeks after the first early voting state in the United States. We have mail-in voting, which is what I do. And I got my mail-in ballot like a month before the early voting even started. So I sent that in right away. So I voted like almost, see, I voted I voted at the very beginning, right around my birthday, October 1st, I was voting. So, and then they have day of voting. So, nobody waits in line in New Jersey. Now, it might not be that way in a lot of the redder states, but you know, it that's how they're trying to cheat. They're just trying to make it so hard everywhere. And they will be caught for this. They will be charged for this. So on top of the January 6 cases, there's going to be thousands of other lawsuits about I can't think of the name, voter obstruction, I guess, and also just cheating, voter fraud. So there is just a ton of that crap going on. And the thing is, I got right at the end, I got the High Priestess and the Knight of Swords. So I think and I'm using the cat tarot because why wouldn't you? This is one of several cat tarot card decks that I have. So this one, the High Priestess is there. So I have a feeling that they've been on the DOJ has been onto this all along, and between the DOJ and the organization for all the secretaries of state of all the 50 states, I think they've all been working to nail this down and have evidence that they can prosecute these people and have them go to jail. And the end card is Knight of Swords. That's going to be a prosecutor. That's going to be somebody who's going to indict these people, bring them to justice, have them in a hearing, have them in a trial, send them to jail, and make them stop doing what they're doing. So yeah, have they been cheating? Yeah, they've been cheating all along, and they've been doing much more than just cheating. They've been manipulating the system for 3 years. So who is surprised that he's doing this crap now where he's pretending like, "Oh yeah, I have enough votes. I have enough votes. Don't worry about me." But yet he really doesn't. I mean, he gave up on his campaign a long time ago.
Well, and I just saw today that the GOP has enlisted 200,000 poll watchers and poll workers across the country. 200,000 people. And I imagine the poll workers have started a long time ago. The poll watchers, who knows? And they're aiming to collect evidence of voter fraud. That's their purpose.
Wow.
They are, in my thinking, and the way I feel about it, they are creating voter fraud and then acting like, look what we found. And so I think that they are going to make a big to do and make this very questionable about who won. Which, by the way, Trump, did I already say this about Trump? Will definitely announce prematurely and fraudulently that he has won as president after, probably end of day on election day, before all the votes have been counted, because he has put in, because he might be looking good at that point, because they have really encouraged the Republican voters to vote early, and they want their votes to come in first, which they probably will. But it doesn't mean anything because we've got all these other votes going on. So when you hear that Trump claims he won, he didn't. And he did the exact same trick with Biden in 2020.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
It's just a repeat, like a deja vu from 2020. And it's nothing to be worried about, because there will be that we have to count all the votes before anybody decides who won.
Yeah.
I am hoping for the electoral votes to come in unquestionable, that it will be Kamala Harris unquestionably, that obviously she won it. Now that could be a different thing. I don't see that Trump will come in with that, and he's got to have, maybe he'll come up with a few electoral votes, but I think that Kamala Harris really has. I just think it's going that way, regardless of what the polls say. I just think that's the way it's going.
I think the polls are so wrong. I think, and it's not the thing about, oh, only old people have landlines. I don't think that's the only polling that they're doing. I think instead of the landline thing, I think they're just making shit up. I really do. I think they're just making it up, and I think that in some ways it benefits Kamala to have the polls look bad for her, because that makes people donate more to her campaign, and it makes people really help get the vote out. For Trump, he likes to be the underdog, and yet he keeps saying that he has enough votes and he's going to win. He's so full of it, it's not even funny. But I just think that the polls are for shit. They're just not worth anything. However, I think that it's very interesting how both sides view voter fraud. For instance, NPR, who is supposedly a neutral journalistic outlet, is saying, as of October 11th, 2024, an article by Ashley Lopez she put out says, how we know voter fraud is very rare in US elections. And she goes on, with all this proof of how rare it is. And we've heard this before, way before. We heard this like
way before
2 years ago. 2 years ago, we heard this a lot on the news. Leading up to the election, not so much we're hearing about it. Not at all, because of all these people who own the mass media outlets are really kind of Trumpy. So we're not hearing about it anymore. But then you go to the Heritage Foundation about voter fraud, and they have a database of election fraud cases, and they're listing not not the can I just share my screen with you? This is
Go
funny.
ahead. Go
This
ahead.
is really funny. This is just God, people are just ridiculous. Okay. So what we have here is uh listing, these are names here in the middle of individuals. So these are all the states, and let's just go by state. Let's just say California. How do I get this? Okay, submit. How many California fraud cases are there? Look at that. But if you look carefully here, these are different years: 24, 23, 22, 22. Oh, a lot in 22. Look at that. And
Oh,
here's
what, a lot of fraud? I can't see that. That's tiny, tiny reading.
I know, but the point is that over the period from 2020 to 2024, there is a handful of cases. Now they're saying, if I go to the last page, they're saying that there's like let's see, how many is on this page? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like 10 on a page. So there's all of 40 cases. Oh, this one goes back to 1993. 40 cases of voter fraud over, we'll just be generous, over the last 30 years in California.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, it's the Heritage Foundation. I don't buy it that these names are even real. Uh, And I think even if we added them all up, I think it would be less than 1,000 people fraud, for voter fraud over a period of 30 years. That's not very much.
Well, I mean, I think back to the Bush and Al Gore thing. When Al Gore, he just like Hillary, he'd won the popular vote, but he didn't win the electoral vote. And I mean,
Or did he?
although
Or
there,
did he? That was up to the hanging chads.
well,
And
I
he,
mean,
and he lost thousands of votes because of that.
they went and they kind of investigated a little bit, but nothing like this stuff with Trump.
Oh,
Trump
no.
Trump takes it to such extremes, goes through all these courts, and every single court that they took it to, which I think it was like 62, um, said no, there was not a problem with that.
Yeah, no
So,
fraud. No fraud here.
no fraud, exactly. So I just wanted to put up this kind of moving on to a little bit of different
Okay.
question. Um, will the Democrats be able to have a majority in the Senate so they can get things done for we the people?
Oh, let's see. I don't know. What do you think, Cleo?
Well, I've been thinking all along that they will. But if I start watching TV or reading stuff on the internet, it makes me doubt myself. And my guides keep telling me, stop doing that. You don't need to doubt yourself. But, I see, and what we've talked about throughout the last year or two is that they will get the Senate and they will get the House. The Democrats will. Um, it, it is kind of iffy, but boy, I'm hoping against hope that this is the way it's going to work out, because if that works out that way, we will finally be able to just take a breath, relax. Things are going to be definitely okay. They're still going to be okay with Kamala Harris in there, but if she has to fight it tooth and nail like Obama had to, like Biden had to, I mean, it makes it so difficult to get anything done. And the Republicans are, I don't know what kind of drugs they're on, but I mean, they just don't seem to respond in a normal way about anything.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
do you get?
So I got some interesting cards. Okay, yes, they're going to win the Senate, but there's going to be something that has them hemmed in. Got the Eight of Swords, so something that is very confining for them. So maybe not a huge majority, but maybe just a few seats. And then I got the 3 of Cups, so people will be very happy about that. But then we also have the 5 of Pentacles. Something is going to hold up purse strings or whatever, or could be that somebody has a health problem and passes, but then their seat is taken over by another Democrat. So there is a little shifting there and a little difficulty, but generally, yes, they are going to take the Senate as well. The outcome is the 10 of Cups. I mean, they're definitely going to get the Senate. And the beginning was the 4 of Wands. I mean, very happy, happy, happy cards,
Wow.
but just a little bit of stuff going on in the middle. And I also got the Temperance there. So they're not going to be like all full of themselves and, blowhards and everything like that. So, but here's something that I just found out. If after the election, the Democrats have the outright majority in the House, and then they'll have to pick a new speaker, and they do that before Kamala is sworn in, and so Hakeem Jeffries will be the Speaker of the House
Yeah.
at that point. So if we have to certify electorates for the Electoral College, he will preside over that, not Kamala,
Okay.
which is better because then Trump can't say, "Oh, of course she certified for herself."
So,
And I don't know if there's any rule against that either. I mean, but
uh, do you see that the Democrats will take the House as well?
yes, I've always seen that. They
Okay.
definitely will. Yeah. That's just a game of numbers, I think. I mean, the Republicans right now have so many people who are Republican, but they hold the seat, but they're sick or they've been indicted or they've got a lot of people who are just absent from their seat
They're
yet
in
holding
prison.
the seat.
They're on
They're in
parole.
prison. Yeah, no. What's his name? Menendez stepped down. Yeah, Menendez stepped, but he's Senate. He's in the Senate. But
Okay.
so I think that it's a kind of a phantom majority. It says that there's more Republicans than Democrats, but remember their margin is very, very thin. I'll Google that right now because I've been saying this for a few weeks, but I really do believe that technically there is no majority. Yeah, there it is. It comes right up. Yeah, see, there's 3 vacancies right now. That's Mike Gallagher, a Republican who retired in April. And then there's Sheila Jackson Lee, a Democrat who died in July, and Bill Pascrell, who died in August, who is a Democrat from New Jersey. But was he in office? Okay, I guess he was. He was a representative. And so right now it says 212 Republicans to 220 Republicans. I mean, Democrats to Republicans. So Republicans 220, Democrats 212. But I think there's some shenanigans going on with those 220 Republicans. I don't think they're all I think there's people out having chemotherapy, people who are, not really there.
Well, I think that once we don't have to worry about Trump anymore, a lot of the Republicans that are sitting in Congress right now, they are in a lot of
A
trouble.
lot
And
of trouble. A
so
lot of
they may just be removed and replaced with Democrats. So,
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. I believe that. I really believe that. I mean, I think this period of time between now and January 20th, I I'm going to read on that. I think that Jack Smith may be handing out some indictments or
oh, yeah, Jack Smith, by the way, Jack Smith, he is going to be busy, busy, busy after this
oh, he's
election.
going to be a busy boy. He's going to have to double his staff. He's a
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I see him doing great stuff. Go ahead and do your reading thing, but yeah, I'm just Jack Smith right now. He's got so many things on the table that he is working on, and Trump is going to be held accountable. He's going to be up for treason, and
good.
when that happens, I mean, everybody will be looking around like we almost voted him in, and he's going
Right.
to be found guilty of it too. So I see all that stuff happening in 2025, but um, yeah, there's a lot there's a lot of stuff going on where, and kind of where it looks like Jack Smith's been a little more quiet or something. He hasn't been. He's just carefully building his cases one by one. Um, and now they're talking about what's her name, Aileen Cannon, that she might be an attorney general somewhere or something.
Well, if they won, that's what she's angling for.
Yeah, well, she's not qualified for that any more than she was qualified to be a federal judge. So we'll just see how that goes.
Oh my God. So there are like I did 2 rows of cards. There's so many people in this. So here's the King of Pentacles, the King of Wands, the King of Swords, the Page of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and the Knight of Swords. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, well, at least 6 senators are in trouble. And they,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's more than that.
yep.
But yes, you're right. At least 6.
Yeah, at least 6. And aside from that, we got the 9 of Wands, which is that card for, defending your heel. And then we got the 5 of Cups, which means that, your cups are overturned and you're in sadness. And we got the 2 of Swords, which is making a decision. Do you flip or do you say, oh no, I didn't do that? Or do you just go along with it?
Well, I think that's why Jack is just sitting around putting all these pieces together, and they're going to have a hard time saying, "No, I didn't mean that," or "I didn't do that."
Yes, they
Because
are.
a lot of what they're in trouble for is that they have allowed this. They've allowed Trump to continue with the lie, and how they're going to backtrack on that would be very interesting. I just love to see it, because I mean, he could not do what he has done all by himself. I mean, he is the leader of the pack on this, but he had to have the help from everybody else to say, "Come on, lie with me," and they're like, "Okay, yeah," and they
Yeah.
do it.
Well, they don't
Jack
just
Smith,
say okay. Oh God, what's going on with my sound? Sorry, everybody, if you had to hear that. I don't think they're just going along with it and saying okay. I think he blackmails them.
well, it doesn't matter how it came out. When it comes out in the public, it's these Republicans are saying, "Yeah, right, yeah, the election was stolen."
Mhm.
Uh, you know,
Because
you know,
remember what Mitt said. Mitt said that, he was one of the lucky ones because he had money. He was wealthy and he could pay for personal protection. But a lot of the people in the Senate are not as well off as he is. And they didn't feel they could pay for personal protection and they needed it for their families and themselves if they went against Trump. Trump was definitely threatening them. So I mean, Michael Cohen used to do that for Trump. That was fine when Trump was a small-time businessman in New York and, trying to pretend like he was international. But now he's probably got 20 Michael Cohens doing that. He's got a small army of people threatening Republicans and anybody else that he needs to, probably threatening Melania. And Melania's probably saying, ugh, you have to pay me more, like there's so many people who have done wrong things at his behest because he's blackmailing them or threatening them. That's what I think. That's
Okay, but I see it going even further, and I see it that they're looking at this as though, how does Trump get away with saying what he says? And he gets away with it because he's got a whole bunch of other people that are supposed to be smart and intelligent people that are, senators and Congress people and representatives for their state, and they managed to get elected. So they're saying that these people are backing him up in a lie. And just because everybody congregates on a lie does not mean it's not a lie. And so that is part of what Trump's going to be in trouble for, as well as his treasonous activities. So
Right, and don't forget the media will not write about it as if it's bad. The media will just say, "Oh yeah, Trump did this," as if it's normal.
Yeah, we're so numb to all the weirdness that comes
Not
out of
only that, but remember who owns the media. Those people want Trump in power because they're all big old oligarchs themselves and they don't want to pay their taxes. That's what it comes down to. That's
yeah.
that is the real thing. They just don't want to pay taxes. You
Well, and
guys
Trump
wait,
didn't
wait, wait. You
go to
guys are
prison.
greedy. You guys are greedy and you need to get over it. You've got your goddamn money. Now back off and just have a job. Why do you have to be so fucking greedy? Just
because
stop it.
Trump, this is life or death for Trump. He
Yeah.
has he has to be president in order to pardon himself, and we can see
Mhm,
all this stuff building up, and it's
mhm.
it's going to go down the way it's supposed to. It's going to go down where he does get in trouble. So
Yeah.
um, this question keeps coming up about Bannon getting out today,
Is it
and
today?
Mulvaney brings this up and says, "What do you think about Bannon getting out today?" I haven't paid any attention to it. I don't have any insights on this, but I thought I should address it since the questions come up a couple different times here in the chat section. So I don't know. Is anybody paying any attention to Bannon? Bannon? No, I don't think so. I mean, things the high stakes right now are pretty high with the election going on. I don't think Bannon. I never have thought the man had any influence or big.
Well, he did over Trump, but nobody else.
Yeah, I mean, he just. I don't know what he is. I don't even know how he came into the picture. He just reminds me of somebody's minion, working for a mob boss or something. I mean,
Oh,
he.
no, no, he's actually really, really bright. He's a I think a Harvard-trained lawyer. He worked for Goldman Sachs for many years. He knows a lot about money and manipulating money. But then, he crossed over to the super dark side and decided that he wanted to rule the world. And he found somebody who could do it for him in Donald Trump, and that's what he did. I tell you what, though, I'm throwing some cards on him, but I wouldn't be surprised if, having been away from Trump for a few months, I wouldn't be surprised if he's shocked at the deterioration that Trump has gone through. And he may even go so far as to say, God, what's wrong with this guy? He
I bet
could.
he doesn't. I bet he just comes to his aid and says nothing but praise for Donald Trump.
Well, he's worried, though. He's very worried about his situation because he knows he went to jail for a few months this time. He comes out, he's the magician. He thinks he's very, you know, uh, gifted, skilled, able to turn, water into wine. And yet he's very worried about his future because if he does not have, if Donald Trump in the White House, he doesn't have very much, then he has to start over in his grift. He has to figure out a new way to grift. And I don't think he'll be able to grift very much before he finds himself in the hot seat again and lands in jail again because he's guilty of a lot of crimes, a lot of crimes.
Right.
So we'll see. But right now, him coming out of jail, he thinks everything's fine and he's fine. But I still think there's going to be something about how shocked he is at Donald Trump's deterioration. I think even he's going to feel secretly that Trump should not be president. But what is he going to do? Has he even met JD Vance?
Oh,
Ooh,
that's
these are
right. That's right.
bad.
A few things have changed.
A few things have changed. And oh, God, these cards are terrible.
Oh, and,
These
and
cards are
JD
terrible.
Vance, I mean, has anybody been paying any attention to him? I mean, the things that he says, he's looking around after that comedian, supposedly comedian guy says this horrible things about Puerto Rico. And he looks around going, acting like, oh, you're making too big of a thing. Do we have to be this sensitive about every little thing? I'm thinking, what are you talking about? You're at a huge rally. It's being broadcast all over the place. And they just said the most racist and degrading things that they can say about Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico is part of us. Puerto Rico is
Yeah.
part of the United States. I mean, it's just amazing to me. This guy is such a dud. But I'm glad, I'm glad he picked somebody like that, except for the fact that if by some strange coincidence Trump could have possibly get into the presidency, he won't last long, and then it will be JD
Vance.
Vance.
Yeah,
And I can't,
that's the frightening thing. That's the very frightening thing. So I tell you what I think from these cards. Okay, I'm wrong. He's not going to go against Trump and say he's not fit for office, but he's going to think it because he's going to be shocked by the deterioration that has taken place in his dear friend, the orange orangutan. But it's going to take him, ironically, about a week to kind of get his sea legs. And then he's going to realize that El Shito is hitting the fano when it comes to Steve Bannon. And he's really going to be upset because I mean, I think he may get hit with various things um, from Smith. I think he's going to be hit with more than one kind of lawsuit, and maybe not just from Smith, maybe from other people too. But in the end, I think he just gets on a boat that belongs to somebody else and sails for other shores. I think he just tries to leave the country. I don't know if he'll succeed, but that's what he's going to try to do.
Bannon you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
He's gonna go someplace sunny.
and that
He
should,
wants to go
and that should be nobody should be worried about that. That would be the best thing to happen. Just get that guy out of the way.
No, he's a terrorist. We want him locked up. He is a
Well, that
dangerous
but
man.
let him change. If he goes somewhere else, they can always find him.
All right. Okay. I did star things. Are you looking at the stuff in the starred place?
Yeah, I think I already went through them.
Oh yeah, Brett too. You're absolutely right. Yeah, Vance is just a vomit mouth. I mean, just everything comes out of his mouth. He just He's so I mean, people give him a lot of credit for thinking that he's actually ambitious. He's not ambitious. He's a sub, he's a bottom. He is not a person who makes the big decisions. He's very, very yeah. Yeah. He's he's very willing to do whatever his master tells him to do. And his master, big hint, is not DJT. And his master is not his wife. His master is another man who's very connected to the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah, and I can't believe that Trump is still trying to distance himself from that when it's way too late. It's in black and white. It's all his people that were working for him that are involved in the Project 2025. So I mean, Trump. I just love it that Trump just keeps screwing himself. The fact that he went, I'm trying to remember what they said when he went into New York. Everybody was like, "What's he doing here?" There's no way in hell that New York is going to suddenly go Republican, right?
Right, but he just wanted to gain attention pointed at New York because he was going to do Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, and so I guess he thought that this would be a good thing, like at the midnight hour to go to New York and like what try to change everybody's mind, and all it did is cement what New Yorkers already felt.
They hate him.
Yeah, they don't like him, and he is a liar, and
he's out of his mind. He's cuckoo bananas.
He is bonkers.
Completely.
Which, by the way, I got this from the spirit guides. When Trump loses, get ready to see something like you've never seen before. It's beyond my imagination of what kind of weirdness Trump, besides fighting the voting and the election fraud and all that nonsense, he is going to do something just bizarro. I mean, there'll be no question where everybody will be like, "Oh my God, he's finally stepped over that fine line, and he is in cuckoo land. He is bonkers to beat buggers." I mean, he just is. I haven't gotten specifics on it yet, but
well, I can paint a visual for you. DJT in only his diaper and a banner that says "I won," blowing a kazoo, walking down the middle of the big highway, like Pennsylvania Avenue or Fifth Avenue in New York or something. Yeah.
Or just Mar-a-Lago. I mean,
On Mar-a-Lago, he'll be skipping around the lawn and end up in the pool. I mean, and all his orange makeup will turn the water orange.
but he does have, I feel, he does have some plan about doing a coup to, doing another January
Oh, yeah.
thing. But he doesn't, I don't know where that comes in because he just doesn't have the right clout for that. He's not president right now. He's
No.
not going to ever be president again. So where does the power come in that he thinks he can do that? But he's going to do something very, very strange that finally where people just look at him and go, okay, we thought he was demented. And now we know, in fact, if he's not that, he is off his rocker. So, yeah, it's gonna be bizarre. So, there's a good possibility that after the 5th, it might take a few days to get everything in order about who actually won, because he's gonna be walking around going, I've got it. I'm here I am. I'm king. Um, and, but no, he's gonna do something really bizarre because he's gonna be so pissed off that he's not gonna be able to control himself, because it is so critical for him to be president, and not just to, it's mainly for his legal issues.
Yeah.
He is in
it is.
big trouble, and
Oh,
it's just craziness. It's just craziness.
yeah. He's gonna try to escape too.
Well,
Let's see.
that might be the other thing. The pictures of him sneaking off to the plane. How does the Secret Service deal with that? If they see him doing something,
They can't let him do anything illegal. They can't allow that.
well, then he gets arrested immediately, and then we get to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Then we see that. But I just wanted to point out, now I pulled up the chart of this full moon that's coming up, or new moon that's coming up on the 1st. And it is not great for him. It's not horrible, but it's not great. He's got well, we have Pluto just facing off against Mars, and the Mars involved is touching Trump's Saturn and Venus right by his ascendant. So that is not good. That means that his energy is going to be very aggressive and very me centered. He's, big surprise, big surprise, right? But the sign of Cancer is very me centered. And it's when it's touching his Saturn, he's going to feel like, I have to do something to get out. I have to protect myself, but I have to get out. So very weird. Yeah. There we go. Playing golf naked, screaming, I'm the president. Yeah, exactly. Or just getting up on the roof in Mar-a-Lago and hitting golf balls off into, hitting people in the face with golf balls and, that kind of stuff. Now, Jupiter is hitting his Sun Uranus conjunction, which is also on his north node. So he's going to feel very strongly, if he realizes that he's lost, that this is his King Lear moment. This is King Lear, actually. He is playing out King Lear. All of his kids have abandoned him, and he's, in the last throes of any kind of lucidity, and he's trying to make a stand one last time as king, and he's not making it. I mean, this is King Lear. It's very Shakespearean, the whole thing. He's got well, he's born on a full moon, so the moon and sun are always in opposition, but he's got Venus is going to be close to opposing Jupiter in a few days after the new moon. It will oppose Jupiter, and that will touch off his sun moon thing with Uranus, which is very erratic behavior, more neediness, more me, and let me show everything to the world. So he's got this big show everything to the world thing going on. It's not smooth. It's not nice energy. But if I can change this to, let me go back here and just change this to the day of the election. We'll just change the chart really quick here. And this is going to be the 5th. Let's see what that has. Yeah, then the actual moon in Sagittarius comes up to oppose the transiting moon with Venus comes up to oppose his sun and on Uranus, and Jupiter's on the other side too. So that's hard energy to deal with. It's very, very hard energy to deal with. So he'll be probably crying on that day. He's not going to be happy on that day. I don't think we're going to be seeing him on that day. I don't think he's going to be out at a headquarters. I don't think he's going to be shouting from the rooftops that he won. I think it's going to take him a little while, maybe another 24 hours before he starts saying that stuff. But where's Saturn? Yeah.
Well, just keep in mind that he's been planning on losing.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
so
That's
he's
true. So maybe he's playing the victim. Maybe he is coming out very loudly and playing the victim. Yeah, I think you're right.
well, and then he puts all his movement. He gets everybody together and says, "Okay, here's what they did. They screwed me again. So
Yeah,
now, and who knows what that is."
yeah. But we also have some interesting things going on in November. We've got a Mercury retrograde right after the election. Now during the Biden election, it was in a Mercury retrograde. But in this one, Mercury goes retrograde. When does it go retrograde? Not until towards the end of the month, November 26th. And I think that here's what some astrologers are saying is that things will be very murky up until around the time when Mercury goes retrograde. And then when Mercury goes retrograde, it gives us a chance to go back and see and examine things a little more clear-eyed and actually get the answer. Because that's one of the things that Mercury retrograde is good for, going back on things that have already been done but messed up and fixing them.
Wow, I didn't know that. I thought it would be just the opposite.
Right? Well, no, the election last time was during a Mercury retrograde and COVID and all that stuff. And you remember how, even the results just couldn't even be finalized for so long, and then they couldn't certify the results and all that. That's because it all happened during a Mercury retrograde. But this
Okay.
Mercury is direct when the actual election takes place. And in fact, Mercury, just the day after the election, just barely past midnight after the election, Mercury is trine the North Node. So it's giving us, she's saying, Bratu, you're my new favorite chatter. Will you come live with me and just talk to me all the time? Because I need laughter, and that's perfect. But with Mercury trine the North Node, this is giving us as a people, this is our moment. We're stating what we want, and so people will be very very demanding. They're going to want those votes counted, and they're going to want to know. So when Mercury goes retrograde and we still don't know by November 26th, that's when all the things will start to have to be taken in place. So I don't think he's going to be able to do 62 court cases again, is my point. I think it's going to go much faster than it did last time as far as the results.
Well, he's already started the court cases as far as election interference at the ballot box
And they're already rejecting them, aren't they?
I believe so, but he's got they're keeping that up. It's not just him; it's all the Republicans. But do you know?
When will the money from the RNC okay, it's November 26th, Bratu. When will the money from the RNC just give out so that lawyers won't work for him anymore because they don't get paid?
Well, because it was getting to that, but then Elon Musk.
Oh God. Ugh,
Sorry, Elon contributed millions and millions of dollars, and that's why they've had such all of a sudden these great advertisements that he's putting out there on TV. I mean, they are well done, and but they got the money from Elon.
Oh, that just makes me nauseous. Oh, that's horrible.
And he doesn't care. He didn't go ahead, sue him. What does he care?
Yeah, he doesn't care. It's not he. Who cares? Now, there's another something or other that's going to make things very interesting, and that happens in December. And I'm not saying that the decisions about the elections won't be made before then, but this could have some impact on court cases. And that is Mars, which is going to begin a retrograde on December 6th that lasts a long time. It goes into January, I believe. Yeah. Let me see. For January, is it still retrograde? Hold on one second. I'll figure that out. Mars. Yeah, the whole month. Oh, maybe it goes into February. Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that they don't spend so much time on the states where the electoral votes are so important. Because I think that Kamala is going to get way beyond 270.
Oh,
And,
yeah. I do too. I
and then,
think she'll get way over 300.
yeah, at least 300. That's what I was thinking. But also, when these people come in and try to argue that, I'm thinking, well, I don't think that that's going to last too long. I mean, I don't think it's going to last like a month or anything like that. Maybe a week.
The question about who won?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, but they can't say the final until they get things in, like the people from overseas voting and stuff like that. And if they send them in early, great. But if there's still votes outstanding, they got to wait for those to actually say, yes, this is how many votes. And what is it that happens on December 10th? Something happens on December 10th.
And I can't imagine any serviceman thinking it'd be a good idea, or servicewoman thinking it'd be a good idea to vote for Trump. I just don't see that. I don't, how could they? How could they possibly?
Because they play Fox News, 24/7 on the basis. So that might actually make them not vote for Trump. In the past, it would make them vote for Trump, but right now, I think it might make them not. So by December 11th, states issue their certificates of ascertainment. So Mars is going to go retrograde on December 6th. So that might be another issue with the state's certification, because Mars going retrograde is going to be that friction and that denial and action thwarted or whatever.
That would
Yeah.
be crazy. That would be crazy if that happened. I would
Yeah.
love that. I
Yeah.
mean, the whole country would just be hip hip hooray, having parties and
Yeah.
confetti.
Yeah. We'd be
Even in your own neighborhood, people would just be
yeah.
so excited if it went that way.
We'd be dancing in the streets and saying, "Oh, you still have a few little things to count? That's cute. Go ahead and count. Pass the wine. Where are you?"
That's cute.
Right. Because here's the thing about the January 6th again thing too. He doesn't, like you said, he doesn't have the power to pull that off, but also none of those people want to do it anymore. And he doesn't have, like, the ringleaders of those groups are all different now because the ringleaders went to jail and they're still in jail. So nobody who's actually was in January 6th really wants to go get possibly arrested again, because they know, God, they got me one time, they're definitely going to get me the second time. So why would I do that? So I think if there's any kind of melee going on, I think there might be some local things. Like, for instance, in my town, Pompton Plains, New Jersey, they had a Trump rally on Saturday. Now, I looked on my town's Facebook page and I didn't see it advertised, but my friend had seen it on her town's Facebook page. She lives one town over, which is also very Trumpy. And she showed me the thing and she said, "But Trump's not going to be there." And I'm like, "Well, of course not. It's Pompton Plains. Of course he's not coming to Pompton Plains." Well, on Saturday, there was no, I didn't hear anything about it. I figured from where I live, and and it was at the town municipal hall, which is our police station. Thank
Oh,
you. That's where it was. So on Sunday, I Googled it and I'm like, "Hey, what happened at the Pompton Plains Trump rally?" And a thing came up that must have been their Facebook post that was saying, it was Facebook. So, it had all the particulars about the rally, and then it had, interested and attending. Interested was 22 people. Attending, 5. Now, I gotta tell you, I live in a very Trumpy town. It's very, very Trumpy. And this time around, like I told you, I finally did put out my Harris sign, right, a few weeks ago. And my neighbors immediately put up a Trump sign, but that we were the only 2 signs that I saw for a while. And then the guy down on the corner that I know, he's a nutso with Trump. He put one up. But as I was driving around the neighborhood the other day, I was realizing it's 50-50. For every Trump sign, I'm seeing a Harris sign. Now that's big. I mean, my town, the Democratic committee for my town was so weak. They had like 12 people when I was in it. And the 4 people who were left had to go join with the adjacent town because they just couldn't get anything done. Well, now they're sending out letters to us and they're saying, hey, do you want to maybe phone bank for us or help us out? Thanks for being a Democrat. Thanks for voting early, all this stuff. But I really think the tide has turned. I think my town is not 100% Trumpy, which I'm really glad for because I don't want to get my tires slashed.
Yeah, really. Well, as far as like the election interference, which has been my concern for so long, like right now, I have my ballot. It's, it could be ready to go tonight, but I won't put it in there just because this little thing with the fires that came up. And also, I just want to make sure it goes to where it's supposed to go. So I probably won't drop it off until November 4th.
Yeah.
Because I just don't trust it. And I mean, in Washington State, we've never had a problem that I've ever heard of that it was any big deal. But I mean, this time it is just so
tense,
chaotic, and
yeah.
And we've got this one buffoon that's running for governor, Dave Reichert, which he was a sheriff. He doesn't have any, and a congressman, but he's got no business being a governor. But I see all his signs everywhere, and it's Bob Ferguson that's also running. That's the Democrat. He is going to get it, but I don't see the Bob Ferguson signs up. I see, I see no Trump signs up around my neighborhood, but I do see maybe 3 or 4 Harris signs. I mean, people are afraid. I'm afraid to put anything out there because I just don't want to, I don't want to get egged. I don't want somebody.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to deal with that. But I mean, this is the first time I've really felt really insecure about dropping off a ballot way too early because who knows?
Well, I'd like to invite you to watch the replay of my Reveal the Future, where we talk about protecting the voters and the poll workers and everybody surrounding the voting process.
Oh, okay.
So please go to my channel, The Cool Crone, and click on the live tab and you will see it. And I will tell you what day it aired because it was just a couple weeks ago. It wasn't that long ago. Let's see. Protecting Our Voters and Poll Workers was on October 9th. So if you go there and find the video that was aired October 9th, it's called Protecting Our Voters and Poll Workers, and it is a good, relaxing, calming experience where we put out lots of positive protection for everybody involved. I mean, I even got the hospitality workers covered. I mean, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, this thing about poll workers being threatened and they're threatening their families. And I mean,
horrible.
What in the world? It's just crazy. It's just a crazy environment. And so, and it just starts feeling dangerous. And I'm like, God, I am so tired of this weirdness.
Yeah.
It's ever since 2016, it's just been, I know that there's been problems in the past. There's always been Republicans doing goofy things, and but I do want to reestablish that Bob Ferguson for governor in Washington State. Do not vote for Reichert. He will just we've got, abortion and all that is still totally legal in Washington State. We intend to keep it that way.
Mhm.
But, they have this one ad out for Reichert where he says, in the end of it, he's looking around and he's kind of laughing and he's saying, like, keep America great again. And it's almost like he's not even buying that slogan. And I'm like, it's funny that goes up there because he's kind of laughing about it, like, yeah. And that whole thing about make America great again, stop it. America has always been great. Where did they come up with this, And all the lies and stuff that Trump keeps telling, again, and when we go back to the polls, I'm like, you're talking about a felon versus an attorney general, senator, and vice president. Duh, who is the most qualified and who's trying to do the right thing? So, yeah, I'm hoping and praying that the rest of the country, especially those electoral states that make the difference, what is it, Michigan and Pennsylvania and Arizona and Nevada and
North Carolina.
North Carolina. I don't remember all of them, but
Maybe
anyway,
yeah.
there's a bunch of.
I threw a few cards about, just the poll workers being safe, and I think that there will be a general feeling for most poll workers that they have to be very, very careful, but I don't actually see any violence being imposed on any of them. But I do see that they're all going to feel kind of imprisoned by this fear of what could be. And once the election is over and the votes are counted, that's the end of that. They get the world. It's all done because she will be Madam President and he will no longer have the platform to engender fear in our country.
Wow. So
somebody else mentioned that. I don't know what the Las Vegas sphere is.
Me neither. But at least it's something. It sounds to me like it's something positive for Harris. So I thought I'd put it out there.
Maybe I can pull it up on the screen. Sphere in Las Vegas to show campaign ad for Kamala Harris. Do you want me to show it?
Yeah.
Okay, let me share. Okay, let me make it the whole thing. And I don't want the spooky sale. I just want this. Wow.
Oh, I love it. Wow, look at that. That is great. Oh, I'm glad Rossi brought this up. Look at that. That is great. Oh, God, it just keeps going on and on.
Okay, we'll knock it off now. Come on now. That's too much. All right. So I don't want you to get dinged there.
That was cool. Oh, no,
Isn't that cool?
You brought that up, and I'm glad Rossi mentioned it because I didn't
thank you.
About it. And it was Val, Dragonfly Crystals, who said that Nevada would definitely go Democrat.
Yep. I think they will too. Yeah.
They're still arguing about it in the polls that it's going to go Republican. So,
oh, if you're watching anything mainstream, Of course, what else are they going to talk about if they don't have this controversy? Just, I mean, think about it. If they all said, well, she got it wrapped up, first of all, people would say, oh my God, don't say that. That's what we all said about Hillary and then she lost. That
Yeah,
would be the PTSD there. But
yeah,
also, what would the conversation be?
true.
You have to have this ginned up like this so that everybody's all, excited or whatever. The trick is just don't let it get to you. Know that it's just kind of pretend and that she is going to win. She is going to win. I mean, look, what a sign this is. This, ladies and gentlemen, came out of my desk from 4 years ago when I was supportive of Kamala. And I hired someone to go into my old office, which is my cat room and laundry room, and clean it up. And she found this under a like probably 2 foot pile of my stupid papers in there. And it says, if you can't read it, it says making herstory. And that's
Right.
what she's gonna do. And I love this picture and I love that she found that. And I just thought, well, that's a sign that we can all relax now. She's gonna win. She's gonna make it herstory.
Well, we can't relax until after the 5th. I mean, I can't. I just like
After the 5th of November or January?
of November.
November. Yeah, and I wanna make sure that she gets inaugurated on the 20th. That
Yeah, yeah,
that
that's a
was
good thing.
something that at one point that I was afraid of, is that it would be so chaotic that, like, Joe Biden would have to, like, stay in office for another 4 weeks or a month or 2 or whatever because they couldn't get a decision, but
No, they'll get it. They'll definitely get a decision because again, I think it's going to be so overwhelming that she's going to have so many votes
I
that there
agree.
won't be really a question
I
about it.
agree. Well, one of the things that astrologically is that she now has transiting Jupiter sitting on her rising sign. That is the same aspect that Obama had when he was elected and that Bill Clinton had when he was elected. So there you go.
Score.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we're an hour and 11 minutes into this.
We are.
So is there anything else you wanted to talk about, or should we wrap it up?
We should wrap it up because I want to go eat dinner.
Okay, doke. All right. Hey, thank you guys. Thanks for everybody showing up today. And we're all just hoping for the best. And I I think
We
it is
are.
going to work out. Um, and I hope everybody's feeling optimistic because they should be. And we just keep watching Trump make mistakes and say
Yeah.
strange and racist things and hateful things, and the division that he seems to just relish, that he just loves everybody to being divided, and him being the big victim. And we're all, when Kamala Harris says we're just so tired of it, we're just tired of it, and she is so right. And I'm just looking forward to next week and looking, but be prepared. I mean, Trump is going to do something bizarro, just totally bizarre.
I think the word that we're all looking for is wackadoodle.
That would be it. That would be it.
Whack-a-doodle. Mhm. Whack-a-doodle ding dong.
So anyway, everybody, we'll be back probably soon after the election, but this is our last show before the election.
Oh,
So it's all right. It's not the last show of the year, it's just the last show before the election. But
yeah.
anyway, thanks again for coming and supporting us. And by the way, do go to our channels if you haven't subscribed, and subscribed, particularly to me. I need it more than her. No, for her too.
Oh
Uh,
my god.
and please like and subscribe. It really helps. And thanks again.
Thumbs up, that helps too.
Uh,
Yep.
Kamala and Democrats all the way. See you guys later.
Bye.